We are in the North Carolina Museum of Art looking at neorealistic American paintings, and this one was painted in 1946 by Andrew Wyeth, and it's called Winter 1946. So after World War II, art styles became more expressive, like Pollock's. However, there was also a resurgence in realism and regionalism, so you can kind of see that stuff in Grant Wood's and Edward Hopper's, and of course Wyeth was among them. And this is painted in egg tempera, but the artist was taught by his father, the illustrator N.C. Wyeth, to paint in watercolor and oil as well. So the first thing that strikes me about this piece is just the feeling of absolute loneliness this work invokes. Winter is a barren season, and many things about this create sadness and emptiness. You can kind of see the high horizon line, and the sky that you can barely see is really gray, kind of white, that pasty winter sky. There's little traces of snow, and it's just a really sad piece. The colors are dull and muddy because Wyeth painted with a really high level of realism. He paints really detailed sections of grass in his works, for example, Christina's World. And despite his high level of realism, we can see here the face is turned and not really detailed. You can kind of not see it. So that was definitely on purpose, because he was trying to symbolize him kind of turning away, and we'll get to that. It really makes you kind of melancholy, and this artist just painted this during a very difficult time in his life. This was actually the first work Wyeth made after his father and young son died in 1945 in a railroad accident. This was really tragic, of course, but even more so for Wyeth. He was sickly as a child and led a sheltered life. He was even really childish as an adult, but Wyeth's father was his teacher, so he was just especially close to him. His parents were really overbearing too, so while he had close connections, his death kind of symbolized a freedom from his control. This piece, Winter, is full of personal symbols of the artist's father. The place over the hill is the railroad tracks where N.C. was killed, actually, and Wyeth used to visit this place a lot after his father's death. He was grieving for months, and he never really painted him, and that is something that Wyeth regretted. So in a way, this hill became a portrait of his father. The boy running away symbolizes Wyeth himself running from death and his father's authority. The boy is actually Wyeth's neighbor, with whom he shared a fun moment with running down the hill shortly after this tragic event. And I think this was also a big moment for Wyeth, because this was kind of leaving his father's death behind, and him sharing a fun moment, because he really was grieving for a long time. It's just really hard for him. This is one of the turning points in his life, and his paintings had always had a serious tone, but this time it was a little more personal. I think the overall theme of this piece, at least what I feel, is not only loneliness and death, but leaving the past. The boy's turned away. That's the hill kind of that symbolizes his father. And even the boy, that moment that he shared with him, that was something that was like one of the first few fun moments. Wyeth just captures this all so well, and it really is such a beautiful, thought-provoking painting.